Lil Wayne album, The Carter 6. The Carter 6 is the 14th solo studio album by American rapper Lil Wayne. It was released on June 6, 2025. It is the sixth installment of the Carter album series. The Carter 5 was originally announced as the final album by Lil Wayne. However, after a while, Lil Wayne decided that he wanted to write The Carter 6, which is a sequel to The Carter 5. So, Eric, your thoughts on this new album by Lil Wayne?
So this is definitely my first dab at anything by Lil Wayne.
Okay.
So
Cool.
I have not listened to any of his other previous albums. I know who he is. I know the songs, like famous songs that have played on the radio,
Right.
for sure. So this is my first dive into Lil Wayne. So for all the fans out there, please bear with me. So essentially, I thought that the album was a little bit all over the place. And in terms of the sound and the style of the songs, like I was actually really pumped because when I started listening to this, I went for a run, put it on, and it had that like old school like R&B vibe in the like as the backing tracks, and I was like, this is sick. This sounds so good. And then it started going downhill from there. Mostly when it got to the second song, Bells, I wasn't really a fan of. And I was like, okay. And then hip hop, I actually didn't mind. And then Sharks with Jelly Roll, I don't know what it is. I don't like it.
It's because it's Jelly Roll. You don't like Jelly Roll, right?
I'm not a fan of Jelly Roll. Like, I just think he's like there are some songs that I've heard, but like this song I think is I don't like it. Like
right.
Snakes are always in the garden, in my opinion. And what I was mentioning earlier with the team up, when in track 7, The
That
Days
so
with Bono.
I want to talk about this.
I was literally like, this is insane. It's like I can see this more over than Machine Gun Kelly and Bob Dylan, because I feel like Bono is one of the biggest musicians in like modern rock. Lil Wayne's definitely a big musician in his field, like hip hop or R&B. I don't know what he classifies hip hop. So I can see them going to like music functions and running into each other, right? Because they're the top of their field. Whereas Bob Dylan's is a little bit too far back in history where I just can't, I still can't see it. But I just thought it was an interesting duo.
Yeah. Okay, so I didn't look at the liner notes before listening to this album. I just like started listening to it. And when it hit The Days with Bono as the feature, I was listening to it. It's like, oh, that's a pretty nice voice. I wonder who that is. And I was like, that sounds so familiar. Who is this? And I was like, that's Bono. Like, I was so surprised. Now, there's some things I didn't like that they did to his voice. And I think this is general commentary of the whole album. I think it's a bit too overproduced. There's a lot of things in here where I'm like, you auto-tune that way too much. And you've overlooked this small little detail. There's like small little things in this album where like, you sort of peaked there. You should have cleaned that up or re-recorded it. Bono's voice, I think they cleaned it up a bit too much. It sort of, for me, when I was listening to it, I was like, I don't know if this is old man Bono who's sort of like not at the top of his game anymore, or they have just like compressed his vocals like way too much on this, to the point where I'm like, I think it's Bono, but I can't really tell if it's Bono. Right? Once I knew it was Bono, I was like, I hear it. But when I was like listening, not knowing, I was like, I think it's him.
It definitely like I did the same thing, because I was just like, oh, who's singing this? And then I look at Bono, and I'm like, is it like the Bono? And it is. And and then when I listened to it again, because I started from the beginning again once I found that out, and it was it did have it sounded like YouTube playing with Lil Wayne. That's what it
Oh yeah,
actually sounded like to me.
yeah, yeah,
Once I found that out, because even the way the song was structured
yeah.
and the sound of the song, like it definitely had U2 elements in there, which
Yeah,
was
yeah, because yeah, I
yeah,
think Bono does have writing credits on this song, so he probably was helping
mhm,
write this one. But like that song specifically, I like the hook. I liked Bono's like
yeah.
chorus. Lil Wayne's like verses, they were pretty good on this. I like the song overall. I just think like this song plus the rest of the album in general was just overproduced. Anyways,
Yes.
continue on.
So, then it just got weird because like Island Holiday, which is pretty much Island in the
Obviously,
Sun by Weezer. Uh, but it just sound I'm like, I don't know if I'm digging this.
it's so
And
funny. It's so funny
what
in the
really
video.
threw me off, which I was like, okay, this is like I felt like Little Wayne kind of just went like just nuts. It's just like, when you have that friend that you're like, hey, I want to help you out with something, let me do this, and then you're just like, okay, but then they take it like way too out of control and it's just like over the top. Like then you end up going to this like party or something and it's just like you have your face plastered over the wall. Like that's what this album felt like, because right when I saw track 15, Maria, featuring Andrea Bocelli, I was like, what is going on?
I personally actually thought Maria might have been my favorite track on the album because it was so strange. It was
It was
like
very strange.
it was Andrea Bocelli singing Ave Maria.
Ave Maria. And Little Wayne just rapping over
Yeah,
it.
literally rapping over it, and there's this heavy like bass drum under it. I'm just like, this sounds insane. I love
Mhm,
it. It just was so like it was so experimental. I didn't think Lil Wayne's verses were all that good on this one,
mhm.
and Wyclef Jean is on this also. I didn't think the verses were all good, but the idea of taking an opera and then mixing it with hip hop, I was like, this is so fascinating. I love that he at least tried it.
Yeah,
Um,
you have
but
to give him, and this definitely put a different thought of Little Wayne, because like when you look at Little Wayne, he definitely looks like a hip hop guy, right?
yes, yeah,
Like I feel like people would be intimidated because he looks scary, like
mm,
almost, right?
yeah, yeah,
But while hearing this song, I pictured Lil Wayne in a completely different light. Like I picture him as like the man who loves class. Like I feel like he's the
right.
guy that sits back, has a nice glass of wine, and listens to classical music on his time off. Like that's what I'm picturing. And he has this like very British butler that's like, "Oh, Mr. Wayne, can I get you some more wine?" And then he'll be like, "Yeah," or whatever it is like catchphrase is, right? So, it definitely like I do agree. As weird as it sound, and I just thought it was ridiculous.
Mm,
I did think that it was kind of cool that he did try it,
hmm
right?
hmm
Like I am all for if you try something and it goes down in a blaze of glory, like
Yeah,
go for it. At least you tried it and you put passion into it,
yeah. If it's something
right?
new that like it's like you've
Mhm.
never heard something this crazy before, like
Yes.
I'm down. I'm so down to listen to it.
So again, like I don't know where this album compares to his others, but I did feel like there was really no straight
Yep.
like feel to the album. It was literally all like going from Island Holiday to Loki's theme, and then it gets like right down into Maria, and then you're listening to like this Ave Maria, and then it's just like boom, boom, like it was so all over the place. Like I don't
Yeah.
if like I don't know if this is all his albums are
No.
like this.
No.
So what is your opinion of being the hip hop, I guess, guru of this podcast?
So the Carter, I don't even know what you call it now. The Carter series of albums. There's sort of like not a mythical lore to it, but there is some reverence to the Carter series just because like the Carter 4, the Carter 1 and 2 especially, like they're like considered classic albums because they were just like so good, right? So like once you throw in the Carter name to an album, it's like, okay, we gotta listen to it. Carter
Mhm.
5, whatever. I think it's sort of the luster has sort of gone away. And I think the Carter 6 sort of proves that point where like I don't know. When I listened to it, I agree with you. The beginning was just like banging. It was just like this is a great intro. Like Welcome to the Carter is track 2. It was like that this is a great song. Is like
Mhm.
I can really groove to this. And then as you kept going, it's just like I'm either bored or like there's like serious problems with some of these songs where I don't understand what's going on. Cause like if I played a guitar, that song, I was like, what the frick did you guys do with this? Like why like you put so much auto tune on it, but you selected the wrong notes.
Mhm.
Right? Like there were parts where clearly the auto tune was the effects, but then you're like, why did you auto tune it to the wrong note? Like
Mhm.
it just sounded insane. So like there's all these small little things that like sort of ruin the album for me cuz like I even the verses because like when you're listening to the Lil Wayne album, I think good majority of his fans are listening specifically for the lyrics because he is like one of the top MCs in terms of like lyrical gymnastics. And I didn't really find that much on this album. There were definitely moments that you're like, "Oh, that was a cool part," but like a lot of this was like, I don't know. These verses are very mid, right? But like the album
Mhm.
started so strong. Welcome to the Carter. Bells was like, okay, well, it's sort of a throwback to a song called "Rock the Bells" by LL Cool J, which is like a classic hip hop song. Has the same cadence. I think it also uses a sample from that song. So that was like cool. I didn't really care for that one. I liked hip hop. That was just like, oh, this is getting back into group. I hope the rest of the
Mhm.
album's like this. And then it was just like I don't know what's going on this album. And then oh, there's a cool moment, but then I don't know what's
Mhm.
going on again, and I got lost again. So I don't
When
know.
I heard that first and second track, I was like, I feel like I'm going to give this a high score because if this
Mm,
is what the rest of the album sounds like,
yeah,
this is sick.
yeah.
Um, because like it kind of had that old school feel of like Tribe Called Quest, and
Yes.
and it just I was like, this is awesome. This is cool. And then it's like you said, then it kind of went all. I'm like, what the? Am I still listening to the same album?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Welcome to the Carter had like that soul gospel like feel to it, and I'm just like, oh, I really hope the rest of the album is this good, but it just
Hmm.
didn't like stick to it, and it just like I don't know, there just wasn't a through line, and it's supposed to be a sequel to Carter 5, but I don't know, I don't see that. I just don't see what the through line is for this, so
Mm.
I don't know. Yeah, and then like just overproduced. There's just I don't know, things they did, like I already mentioned the auto tune just like going to the wrong note, but there's just so much fit into this whole thing, and like I'm pretty sure there are just so many songwriters attributed to each of these songs that are trying to get their like piece in, and it's just like it's
Mm.
just all messy. Like the whole album is
Hmm.
sort of messy. There are definitely like amazing parts on this album, but it's so like few and far between that it's sort of like don't really care. And then
Hmm.
what track is it? It's track 18, Alone in the Studio with My Gun, and they have like Kodak Black, his part was were great, but like they had MGK, and I get that he's retired from like hip hop, but like they got him in to do the chorus, like sing the chorus. Like come on. He's not even a good singer. Like get out of here.
Hmm.
So and then the closing, written history, I was like, I can't believe this is a closer. This is a trash song.
It was a long album too, for like
Yeah.
coming almost at 20 songs,
Yeah, 62 minutes.
right?
Yep.
So well, 19 songs.
Yep.
So yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I don't know.
but yeah, anyways, final thoughts, ratings, Eric. What are you gonna give this one?
Like I said, there was like you said, there were parts that were great, and then there are parts that you're like, why are you doing that? Like, it's just, and I would love to listen to his other stuff. Like, it definitely, like, I listening to this, I'm like, I know Lil Wayne definitely has
Mm,
like albums that people love,
yeah.
and if there's an album that sounds like the beginning Welcome to the Carter, I will listen to that album because that was awesome. I was so pumped, and then I
Hmm.
was just very deflated
Yeah.
after, and then I was like, what the fuck is happening with track 15 with Maria? Um so I am going to give this a 4 out of 10.
Ooh. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
4 out of 10.
I think that's fair.
I don't think I'm ever gonna listen to this again. I don't think I'm gonna. I think I'll show people, "Hey, you wanna see something interesting?" And then I'll
Yeah.
show them Maria,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but that's about it.
Yeah. Maria, like I think that might be in my rotation for quite a bit because I'm like, it's cool. Like I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It's just like I've never thought about this, like doing this ever.
Now I'd love to see Lil Wayne and Andrea Bocelli actually get together,
That'd be so
and
cool.
that would be hilarious.
That'd be so good.
That would be insane.
All right. 4 out of 10 for you. I'm sort of stuck between a 5 and a 6, but I'm gonna give it a 5. I think it's a very average album. There are definitely parts where I'd be like, yeah, you definitely have to listen to some of these songs. I'd say Welcome to the Carter. I'd say Hip Hop. I thought Cotton Candy was a great song.
Mhm.
And then obviously Maria, just for like the shits and giggles. But like outside of that, it was like it's sort of a messy album that didn't really have a direction. There were a lot of songs that just it sort of deflated the momentum of it, where you're like, I really want to skip this song because I can't stand listening to it anymore. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with a 5 just because like I think it's a very average album. But like, yeah, if you go back at Lil Wayne's catalog, like the Carter 4, I think is like really great. I think most of the Carters are really great, to be honest. I'm sure like hardcore fans will disagree, but like I think most of the Carters are pretty good. Except I didn't really like 5, but they're all
Mhm.
pretty good in my opinion.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm gonna give this one a 5. Very average.
Nice.
All right, that was our discussion on the Carter 5 by Lil Wayne. For those of you following along with us every single week, the album that we are going to be discussing is the brand new King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, the brand new album called Phantom Island, which I'm super excited. I wouldn't say I'm a hardcore fan of King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, but I do like their stuff, so pretty excited to
Mhm.
listen to this album.
They're definitely a good jam band.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, perfect. So that was it for the Crossroads Music Podcast for another week. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We're here at twitch.tv/the Crossroads Music Podcast every Monday at 10 p.m. ET, 7 p.m. PT. Catch us on YouTube, Apple Music, all the places where you get your podcast. Yeah, thanks for listening in, and we will catch you all next time.